What up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm MoedotJ and we are locked in. This is the recap for episode 3 of American Primeval. And right now, we got to get back on these horses and get the hell up out of here because they looking for Red Feather and the Shoshones. They don't want any war. But right now, Jacob, he's out here, and Wolseley, they're trying to cover their tracks. So everyone's all over the place, and we know that Sara is a wanted woman. But before we jump into this, we break down episode 3. The description says, following the lead, Jacob joins a bounty hunter's search. Brigham Young rides into Fort Bridger. Sara, Devin, and Isaac come face to face with evil. So you know it's about to be wild because Sara, whatever she does, it always backfires on Isaac. But before we jump into this and break it down, if you like this kind of content, you like the Wild Wild West, you like the Oregon Trail game, then hey, American Primeval might be for you. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Make sure you hit that like button, and let's go ahead and jump into it. This is the recap of episode 3, American Primeval. Abyss is with Red Feather and his tribe, and she has chores now, as far as helping out, carrying water so they can wash their clothing, helping carry fish back up so they can cook it. But while she's sitting here, just like when we were watching Life with Ray and Clyde, she finds this as an opportunity for her to try to step away and make a run for it again. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. They end up stopping her right in her tracks and bringing her right on back to work. Jacob still has his concussion and he's sitting around and he's nervously pacing, throwing rocks into a can. Why haven't they bring my wife back? The Lord needs to bring my wife back. Everyone's like, hey man, sit down. If she's alive, then we'll find her. But if not, more than likely she isn't, then we just won't. But this man then woke up. He's halfway scalped. They didn't put some stitches in his head, which is really just rope. We don't know what he's thinking. Brain is fully exposed. The bounty hunter's been hot on the trail. We know that he was after Sara and Devin. He ends up stumbling on Wolseley's campground and he's like, hey, I got this bounty. I've been looking for this lady. Oh, I remember you. And he notices Jacob and he says the girl we're looking for actually mounted up with you. And we seen her 3 days ago. Now, Wolseley lies and said the last time we seen or heard anything is about a week ago. Well, he's like, well, then she must be back. Because as I said, we seen her 3 days. So now Jacob is looking around. Wait a minute. You guys seen him? Maybe I can go with you all and we can find it out. So Wolseley sends Cook and Jacob to go with them. And Wolseley tells him, listen, if you find this woman and the boy, make sure they are unalive because these two are witnesses. And we already know how Wild Bill is. He told Wolseley, were there any witnesses? No, they weren't. So now Cook is like, all right, I'm going to take care of that if we can find them. Because at first they were looking for the wife. They're still looking for the wife. But now if they can get on the trail of Abyss, they can find out where everyone is. Being in the wilderness, cold outside, the snow, and as I mentioned, they don't have the best clothing on, but they're out here and they're cold as heck, and they can't make the fire bigger than what it is because it would give away their position because people would see that smoke and want to investigate. So since they keep complaining about it, Isaac takes Devin down to the riverbed and they get to talking a little bit, but they pick up some rocks. They talk about unaliving people, and Isaac says it's not wrong to do it as long as you do it in the right way. But he takes the rocks back and he's just teaching Devin little life lessons. They take the rocks back and warm them up, and then they're going to bury them and lay on top of them. But he tells Isaac, now you go get some rocks for the two women. These are my rocks. It's cold outside. The wind is howling. These rocks only stay warm for so long. Sara ends up having a nightmare. She thinks that someone's choking her out. She wakes up. Isaac's looking at her and is like, that's why I don't go to sleep. But then she starts to talk about what's going on at Crook Springs. Allegedly, Devin's father, he got a little gold, he got a little bit of money, but Isaac's not falling for it. He's like, well, if he got all that, then why didn't he invite you? If this is really his son, then why didn't he come looking for his son? So he's putting 2 and 2 together. Plus, we know that she's wanted, so it ain't making sense to him. Abyss is going through it. She didn't already try to escape twice. They done took food away from her. Red Feathered and took her locket off of her chest. Well, once they untie her, she goes over to Red Feather, and you know no one's supposed to approach him like that. She's talking about, give me my locket, give me my locket. She tries to snatch it off of him. He puts her on the ground and lets her know her place. But everyone is seeing that, okay, she does have a little bit of fight in her. So that is good. But then again, we know what he does to people that disobeys or he gets tired of, like he did the other Mormons. As they get on their journey the next morning, they wake up and they notice that Devin's horse, well, it has a rock stuck in its hoof. Basically, it can't walk too much longer. So they got to switch horses. Devin has to get on the horse because he's lighter. And he's like, wow, I like my horse. But that rock is stuck in there. That's why you need horseshoes, so this type of stuff doesn't happen. But obviously, they don't have a blacksmith. So now they got to switch horses. But they see a little girl, a random little girl in the woods. Sara goes and picks up this kid that only speaks French. Hey, where's your family? And the little girl says, Papa, and basically pointing in the direction of where her father is. This is another moment where Isaac is like, put the girl down. We're leaving her. Because this is a setup. This random girl's just out here with no one, no food, and she's surviving by herself. So Isaac knows that this is very, very bad. But of course, Sara, we can't leave her. We need to get her. Her family is over here. And Isaac's like, leave this girl. But let's go find her family. Sure enough, they find this little kid's family. When they get there, it's an ambush. There's an old lady sitting in a chair. Face looks like it's burnt up. She's laughing. 3 men pop out with rifles. And all it is Isaac with his rifle and his pistol. So now Sarah's sitting here next to this little girl's father. And they're telling him to get off the horse, kiss the ground. We done got set up again. Listening to Sara. What I want you to do in the comments right now, if you made it this far in the episode, is comment, do not listen to Sara, because this is another setup. Brigham Young shows up to Jim Bridger's fort. And when he gets here, Jim meets him. It's like, what you want here, Governor? Ain't nothing going on here. It ain't no houses or anything. It's just blacksmith there, maybe a little bar there. Nothing too crazy. He said, nah, this land was on my way. You know, it was just an easy stop through. Because we know that Brigham Young, he wants to buy all this land and turn it into Mormon country. So he's basically like, oh, you know, I'm thinking about buying this, and this looks like good land. And Jim says it is good land, but it doesn't look like we're selling anytime soon. So negotiations are on. Mr. Young and Jim go inside to his office, and they start doing a little bit of negotiating. All the small talk that they're doing, blah, 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 blah. But Jim is like, yeah, this is prime land here. I came and settled. There's a river. I got somewhere to drink. It's flat land. Yeah, this is prime area. Now, Young is saying, listen, here's my offer, and he writes it down and slides it over there. But the thing about Jim is, I would do that, but that ain't enough money, because he's thinking about, if I sell this to you, I gotta go start somewhere fresh. I gotta go build me a house, and I don't want to do that this late in my life. You know, I done already did everything. So he turns Young down. Jim already knows what's up. Mr. Bridger's been here long enough to know Young ain't just gonna back down. He's on it. He wants this land, so he tells his boy, his right-hand man, hey, Sammy, get us some drinks, because these might be our last ones. We know they're coming back. They're either going to try to buy this land or take it by force. But Jim ain't scared. He said, let's just grab a drink, get some whiskey before it goes down. Sara finally wakes up. Everyone is tied up. Her, Isaac, Devin. 2 Moon, she actually ran away. She made it into the woods. So everyone is tied up, and all the food that they had, the clothing that they had on the horses, well, the French people, they're using it now, because only the guy, the papa, he's the only one that can speak English. But they're having a grand old time just sitting here chowing down. Woolsey meets up with Captain. And Captain is getting straight to it. They're out in the middle of the field. What actually happened that night of the massacre? He's like, oh, well, you know, they saying that some savages did it. He says, so where is Jacob at? He said, oh, Jacob went with the bounty hunters to go and find his wife. Sister Abbott. We're just trying to make sure we can get her, and then we'll go from there. But the captain has already been catching context clues and real life clues, and he's like, wait a minute, this just isn't adding up. And Wosley, when you look at him, you can tell that he isn't a trustworthy character. So the captain, he isn't backing down, but he's like, all right, well, we're going to continue to look, and we're going to find out what happened that night. Wosley needs to get rid of all the witnesses. Being tied up by the French, they're having their way. They're over here messing with Devin. We don't even know what they're saying because they speak French. But what Papa is doing, he's messing with Sara. And you guys can imagine what he's doing. He takes her into the little hut and they do what they do. But while all of this is going on, Devin and Isaac, they're just sitting there watching it because there's nothing they can do. They're all tied up. They like, we got money, we got food. She's like, just let us go. You know what I mean? Y'all got us. Y'all can have what we got. But please, just let us go. It ain't working that easily. Jacob is out here with Tilly, Virgil, and they're looking for this bounty. But he's just a singing. But you got to remember, his brain isn't all the way there. It's partially falling out if these stitches wasn't there. So they're sitting here and he's singing. Now, Tilly starts antagonizing him, man. Your wife, ooh, what I would do with her, ooh, you don't even know. Well, this isn't gonna fly for too much longer. Everybody's like, hey, Tilly, just chill, man. Let the night go through. Jacob, he's singing. I guess this is just to keep his mind from wandering, but he's upset. Later that night, the French untie Sara, and they're getting ready to take her back to the room while the other people are at the campfire. But as they're walking, we look over into the dark and it looks like some fire coming out of nowhere. Turns out it's Two Moon. She's been sitting out in the woods and she done lit a stick on fire, came and hit Papa in the back of the head. And now Sara got the gun, and I'm talking about it's going, pow, pow. It's going down right now. She's catching bodies left and right. After this, you see her start wiping the blood off of her hands. She done caught a lot of bodies. Now, the old lady, still living. When she goes down there, Isaac, he's talking to her. He's just trying to figure out, okay, what the hell is going on here? She's like, I don't need your sympathy or anything. I had to do what I had to do. Self-defense is no different than anything that you've done. So he's like, my bad for asking. But now we know that Sara, she's really about that life. And that's why she's on the run now for murder and robbery. Red Feather shows up with Abyss and the rest of his tribe back to the mom. Now, when she gets here, she's like, whoa, you got war paint on your face? What are you doing here? Your enemies are going to come after us. He's like, my enemies are your enemies. We're part of the Shoshone tribe together. She's like, no, we don't want none of that. We already know that the white folk, they didn't already kill some people. We don't want none of that around here. Plus, your son, Young Elk, he needs to live a little bit longer, man. Don't put him into this nonsense. We're a peaceful tribe. But Red Feathers, he's doing what he thinks he needs to do to protect the tribe. Now, the Calvary sent scouts out because they wanted to make sure that they weren't being watched, and they wanted to see if there was anyone around the surrounding areas. But we seen that Red Feathers and them actually ambushed them. Hit them all with arrows. Some of them got shotguns. Some of them got a rifle to the back too. But this gentleman left and he got hit with a bow and arrow. So Captain's like, what happened? He's like, man, they ambushed us. They got us before we could do anything. But remember, Red Feathers just moved the tribe back to where his mom was. The next morning, Tilly, Jacob, Cook, Virgil, they're all about to head on out. But when they do, Cook stands up and he pulls out a pocket watch. The same pocket watch he got from the massacre. Now, if you're looking over at Jacob, he's like, wait a minute, that pocket watch looks familiar. That was Jesse Rowell. So how could you get this watch if you weren't there? But you were there because you got this watch. So now Jacob is looking at his surrounding people, his peers, like, who are these people actually? And then they give us a flashback of when Cook took this damn pocket watch. So Jacob, he's really questioning everyone around him. And who can he trust? These bounty hunters weren't there. But was Cook at the massacre? We have to find out in episode 4. All right, there you go. The recap of episode 3 of American Primeval. Let me know what you think. If you're Jacob and you've seen him with that pocket watch, what is your first move? Are you questioning him? Are you sitting back and just observing? Because this might eventually be a setup against you. But let me know what you think. I'm MoedotJ. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for episode 4. It's starting to heat up. We're about to get back out in these wilderness and try to find out how to get to Crook Spring, or we might not even make it. We might not even make it. But let me know what you think. I'm MoedotJ. Tune in tomorrow for episode 4. If you like this kind of content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'm out.
Jamie on the beat, boy.